Okay, you guys. So tonight I'm going to do something different. And I'm going to be cranking out more narcissism videos. And I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not going to diagnose, nor do I want to. But I'm going to be sharing what I've learned about antagonistic, narcissistic people, as well as my own stories, to include the things that I've learned from people like Dr. Romani, and H.G. Tudor. I don't listen to him as much. The other German doctor that I always forget his name. I've got some kind of block on his name. But anyways, I'm going to go find his name out. I remembered it. It's Dr. Sam Vatkin. I really, really like his information. And he's a self-professed narcissist, so I can appreciate his honesty. But he is right on the money, and I really like what he talks about. So I'm going to make some videos that are kind of short because I don't know how it's going to work out. I'm going to be playing around with like short videos and long videos in regards to narcissism and Scientology as well. But I feel like if there's anyone out there that's like me, a lot of times now I just like to get a short video. So I don't want to be consumed all day by 3 and 4 hour videos. You know, sometimes I do, but not all the time. So something that I noticed from my own personal experience is people that are narcissistic or just plain out narcissists, they make some of the weirdest facial expressions. I remember one narcissist I was dealing with at a workplace. Well, I mean, aside from him having a demon face, like, I'm not kidding. That's a whole nother story when he smiled. But when they have facial, I mean, probably some of them are really good at mirroring like a more empathic person. They watch us and they study us and they try to emulate what we are, but they're not naturally that. There are some good ones though that do know how to do that, but their facial expressions like never match what either they're saying or the situation. Like, I always talk about funerals. Man, you see some really weird stuff at funerals. And when I clicked on these 2 different images, I was thinking of the narcissistic smirk. And it reminded me of a person that I had some interactions with not all that long ago. And it hit me. I'm like, this person smirked a lot. I think smirking is more like a narcissistic type of expression. I mean, other people might do it, but narcissists do it all the time. And from my impression, it seems like they're like, fuck you. I don't have to do what you say. Or it's like, you're not going to tell me what to do. Or it's always like defiant. Like, say your spouse cheats on you. And they'll just kind of look at you like, and? You know what I mean? Like, it's always like this. It's always like this, well, what are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about just everyday folks that are just like not liking people telling them what to do. That's a little different. But they make the weirdest facial expressions. I wanted to use narcissist facial expressions, but I didn't want it to take up the entire thumbnail. Excuse me. I'm going to grab some water. So, of course, I'm not the first person to talk about this. But as I look back in time on the narcissists that I was dealing with, they do some really strange things with their face. And as I've said before, I call myself Eyes to See for a reason. There's a lot to that name that I chose. But I just observe, and obviously your gut and your intuition should tell you something. But something that I noticed is that the male narcissists that I was dealing with how do I explain it? I bet a lot of you guys can relate to this. Like their face is tight. It's like they're ready to blow at any minute. They're ready. They're just looking for a reason to scream and holler. Because that's how they regulate themselves. It's very dysfunctional. And I'm not talking about like a normal guy that just gets mad. Talking about narcissists don't deal with their shame. They don't deal with things that happen to them in childhood. They don't deal with anything. And then they notoriously do not go to therapy. I mean, and if they do, they fake it. They try to win over the therapist because that's what they do. But so they hold all these things like inside and it shows in their face. I think a lot of them probably have heart issues or maybe like high blood pressure, things like that. The face of contempt. Oh, that's interesting. Isn't that funny? Tightened and raised lip corner on one side of the face. And I had shared some videos with you guys earlier, but it seems like nobody's looking at them. But I found this female doctor who is breaking down narcissism and Darvo of this doctor who attempted to murk his wife out in Hawaii. So I like that she covers that aspect of this. In my opinion, this guy's like a full-blown malignant narcissist. Might even be a psychopath, in my opinion. But then the other one that I had shared with you guys, he's a body language expert. And it was really interesting seeing him break down what was going on in the trial per the woman, I think her name is Annalise or something like that. She's got a really cool name. Versus her ex-husband who is just trying to spin the narrative. But it was really cool to listen to this. I think his name is Dr. G. Break down how the guy on trial versus the woman who was almost taken out, how their facial expressions are. So, I was going to do another search, and then I'm kind of cracking up here. So here, of course, we got the smirk. Google Images is just really going downhill, honestly, in my opinion. So I figured, why not talk about narcissistic rage? If any of you guys have dealt with that narcissistic rage, it's not a joke. It is not a joke, especially for the ones that tend to like really hold their anger in, and then you can see their forehead, like the veins in their forehead, like pulse. Have you guys ever dealt with that? That is not freaking fun. It's scary. Because they get very angry when they cannot control you. And that also goes with that whole like tightness in their face. They're always, I've noticed a lot of them are like that. So, signs of narcissistic rage. A rage that may quickly end and never be discussed again, yeah. But I wanted to focus more on the images. I like this image because the one on the top, they just love to bang on the table. They love to do that. They love to scare the living shit out of you, especially if it's a man versus a woman and you're not as physically as big as they are or strong. So you guys, there are a lot of memes and sites talking about body language of a narcissist. There's one that I saw that I really thought was interesting. Narcissistic language designed for submission. It's what it's always about. So I'm not going to make this video too long, but the AI definition of facial expressions of domestic abuse often involve distinct, subtle cues in both victims and abusers. Also, that comes under trafficking. Subtle cues in both victims and abusers. Abusers may display a narcissistic smirk. There you go. Anger, hostility in the eyes, combined with a smiling mouth. They don't smile the same way either. And again, I want to talk about what I've noticed is their face is like, their face is so tight and it looks like I don't know how to explain it. Their face looks really tight, like whether they're smiling, whether they're telling you something, like they're always ready to explode. Abusers may display a narcissistic smirk or cold, dead eyes. That's a huge giveaway. I remember many years ago, I was working at a coffee shop. This is a long time ago. And I had just gotten divorced. And I showed a person a photograph of my ex-husband. And she said, I can tell that he's an abuser. And this is before all this online stuff. And she said, because his eyes are smiling, but his mouth was like straight. I don't know. I believe it though. But it has something to do with the eyes. Or cold, dead eyes, indicating a lack of empathy. Where have we seen that before? And I actually, on a funny note, it's funny but not funny. I saw somewhere someone was trying to create this new disorder called lack of empathy disorder. If you know, you know. Victims often show signs of extreme tension, fear, sadness, or chronic disgust or avoidance. Facial expressions of abusers, aggressors. The narcissistic smirk, a common reported mix of anger or hostility in the eyes with a grinning or smiling mouth. Cold, dead eyes. Eyes that appear shark-like, empty, or devoid of emotion, conveying a lack of empathy or humanity. That also could be a psychopath. Premeditated aggression face. You guys, go watch, if you wouldn't mind, go watch some of those videos that I had shared about the, I think his name is Gerhardt, something like that. The doctor who attempted to murk his wife. And you'll see the body language. Premeditated aggression face, often low intensity, showing slightly lowered brows, raised upper eyelids, and lip tightening. Yeah, see, you guys? I was onto something. Lip tightening. Watch that, you guys. I've seen it demonstrated a few times here on YouTube. Really tight ass, like, lips. It's weird. And you'll see that on, and I speak from experience, you'll see that on men who are getting ready to beat the living crap out of you. And everything's your fault because that's how they regulate their screwed up emotions. And I don't really feel like they have emotions. It's just different. Whatever they're dealing with, it's not like real emotions the way we feel it. Loss of control face. Oh, I would say if you see that, run. Higher intensity showing strong raising of the upper eyelids and lip tightening. There we go with the tight lips. You guys, I was on to something. I'm just reading this now. Watch how their face, like you'll see like a person's skull, and their freaking face will be so tight when they're talking to you. Micro expressions. This is also something that narcissists as well as psychopaths and sociopaths will study. They will study it on empathic, kind-hearted people like us so they can mirror it. And some of them are really good at it. If you go watch, I'm trying to remember that, this con artist, Dear John or something, John. There was this guy that was a con artist that I think Little John or something like that. You guys go, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a series on one of those movie apps. Rapid facial movements, sometimes known as duping delight. Oh, I've seen that before, which can occur when an abuser feels superior or is manipulating a situation. I was listening the other day to, so much for this being a short video. I was listening the other day to, I like this YouTube channel called Tetsuya. I believe the guy is either Scottish or Irish, and he reads all these various stories. I think they're from Reddit and other places. And the situation was, I don't know if you guys believe in this stuff or not, but I believe in it. But it was a hospital, and this going back to the facial expressions. It was a hospital, and they had retained an actual alien. It was like a crash. And they had, well, I mean, not retained. They basically had this alien locked up. It was really like wild and crazy. And the alien did not want to be locked up in this tank. They had him in some kind of like special tank so that they could breathe and all this stuff. And anyways, the medical staff that was on is like top secret, obviously. Without going too deep into it, one of the soldiers, and I think I don't want to get too deep into my thoughts on this stuff, but anyways, one of the soldiers was like, he basically bashed one of these medical staff people to death. And this guy that was relaying the story, you know, he was just witnessing this. And then he said, then the soldier looked at him after he had just bashed the guy's head in, that he was smiling as he ran towards him. He was going to try to do the same thing to him. And some of the other soldiers stopped him. But he was smiling as he was killing, basically. I know that's way off the freaking beaten path, but they're not wired the same at all. And honestly, in a lot of ways, it doesn't matter why they're like that. Just stay away from them. Micro expressions. I'm rereading it. So when an abuser feels superior or is manipulating a situation, watch how they get all happy when they think they've won. It's really sick. Just like that soldier was like basically killed an innocent person that didn't do anything to him. He couldn't wait to do it again. He was smiling Facial expressions of victims. Signs of fear and anxiety, increased tension, panic, or anxiety in the face, including widening of the eyes or a rigid, frozen expression. I think we should be on the lookout for this stuff. Signs of disgust or avoidance, often associated with the emotional processing of abuse, such as wrinkling the nose or raising the upper lip. Disassociation numbness, a blank or vacant stare. Where have we seen that before? Sometimes showing a frozen look. I'm actually, one of these days, you guys, I'm going to do a whole in-depth video just on disassociation eyes. Without, like, the Illuminati coming after me. Masking, attempting to hide fear or sadness with a forced smile or neutral expression to avoid further provocation. Physical evidence, immediate visible signs like bruises on the neck, face, or ears. Yeah, that's for physical abuse. Key behavioral indicators in interaction. Abuser's glare. Intense staring aimed at intimidation. Haven't we seen cops do that too? Huh, weird. Victims' avoidance. Frequently avoiding eye contact or looking down. That's a huge sign. So that's it for now, you guys. I will leave, well, no, I'm not going to leave a link in the description box, but hopefully that was helpful to you guys. And there'll be more to come. Peace.